you said, third partying that fight between Falcons and TT. That was not the case with them. Who knows what they're going to be able to do in the last 3 matches. The big question mark for me, though, for the last 3 matches is going to be end up coming down to how these teams are going to end up finishing up that last Erangel. One team that comes to mind is going to be NIGMA Galaxy. They need to continue to have a great performance here. Yes, they were able to do great Miramar yesterday, but I'm not sure. I'm not sold on that yet.
I mean, especially after you have REGNUM, CARYA get a chicken dinner like this, right? Again, it's going to be close in terms of contention for the first place, so it's going to be down to the wire.
I mean, these same teams are just continuing the pace from yesterday. Influence Rage had a great day, NIGMA Galaxy, REGNUM, CARYA, and they're having a great day yet again here. And consistency in these kind of lobbies at the highest level of PUBG Mobile, and the most competitive lobby we've ever had in PUBG Mobile, is so damn difficult to pull off here. And you look at some other teams like, the Vicious, maybe VOIN Donkey as well, having some players, well, for the Vicious, all players who haven't been in PMGC before, the lack of inexperience can really come back to bite you. But then now we've passed the halfway point of our final day. You have to wonder, are teams going to start playing a little bit differently now, especially if you're down towards the bottom of the leaderboard, and if you're towards the top, do you maybe depend on sitting back and going for like some second drop locations to play it safe? No?
No. I know you can hear the shake of my head on the mic. But yeah, if you're one of those top teams, don't end up changing your playing style that much. Especially for RCB, like you wouldn't have wanted to extra challenge teams in Watertown for no reason, just because you wanted some extra points. They played that out so perfect.
We know that there is one person who can tell us about potentially changing things up. It's going to be Pekko, the coach, coming in for NIGMA Galaxy, over with Banks on the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the main stage, where I am joined by the coach of NIGMA Galaxy. It is Pekko. Pekko, 2 points in it right now. You're on 127 points. You've got close second at 125. How are you feeling?
I'm actually feeling confident. We're trying to do our best, obviously. We need some luck just so we can beat top one. I mean, we're really confident.
It's like a sprinkling of luck you need, isn't it? Because you guys are super confident. Speaking of confidence, yesterday you were hanging out with the casters and the analysts in the lobby. You were doing magic as well. They all kind of reflected on it and said, he seems really relaxed. Like, you would think that going into Championship Sunday, everyone's a bit nervous, but you seem really calm. Do you feel like you're really calm and like you trust your players, I imagine?
Yeah, of course. Everyone is really confident. The org gave us a lot of trust, which is what pushed us to do this good. This is all I'm saying. Yeah, we're really chill, to be honest. We expect this. We expect it to fight for top one, and we'll see how it's going to go for the last three games.
And we know that Championship Sunday is always packed with the fans. You guys have an awesome fan base as well that are chanting for you as you go. But also on day 3, right now, we only have 3 maps remaining, 2 of them on Miramar. How do you like your chances closing out the day on Miramar? Do you feel like you can clench it?
Yeah, of course. We can do good. We can actually, as I told you, beat top one. It just depends on the decisions in game, obviously the luck. And we'll see how it goes.
Is Miramar a particularly strong map for you guys, or is it just, are they all strong maps?
No, it's actually the least strong map for us. But doesn't mean we're not going to do good. We're still confident.
I mean, like you said, a sprinkling of luck, but also you trust them. They know what they're doing. They've got a really strong team. You're in the lead right now. Let's see if you can close it out. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for NIGMA Galaxy. And we've also got Pekko here. Nice one. Thanks so much. For now, we're going to head back to the desk to continue Championship Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Saying he's chill, I think, is an understatement. During last night, we were playing some Ice Mire Frontier, and he was pulling one of us away at a time to do some magic card tricks. I think it's more than chill. I think he's feeling pretty confident that they're going to take this.
They were good magic.
They were really good. I do a little bit of magic sometimes, and it was like, I have no idea how he did this. Yeah, I was so confused.
I was like a 5-year-old. I was mind blown.
Well, you kind of are like a 5-year-old sometimes, but you know what? Speaking of 5, what about 4MV? They had a rough time here against NIGMA Galaxy in this last match.
Yeah, and this one, I mean, it kind of goes with what we've been talking about too, Max, in regards to how they have changed separate things throughout this whole tournament. Especially it comes down to Doc. Doc, that wasn't the initiator for that fight. He was actually the one holding back. And on top of that, whenever the team was pretty much eliminated, then Doc finally decided to push. It seems like it was the last hurrah out of that team. we're talking about teams changing up how they play. I feel like 4MB right now is a bit uncertain on figuring out how they actually want to play. Do they want to play aggressive? Do they want to be passive? Because during that engagement in the last match, I wasn't quite sure what they were wanting to do. It's not like everybody fully committed to it.
I mean, we saw there was definitely a lot of changes happening during the league stage, right?
Yep.
Happening for them. They were playing center, then edge, and I think that now nothing's really working too heavily for them. So then that question of, then what do we do? Because our two main playstyles are just not consistent as much as we would have expected in these finals.
I think what they need to do is take their Akuba UT2 Gamer Pros to ensure optimal performance here in these matches, keep those hands warm and ready to go, because they need to have a couple of good games. I mean, just imagine there is a world where they could potentially pull off another 30+ point game and we could see them in first place, but they got to get their hand warmers out.
Do we want that?
Do we want to see? You know, honestly, I would love to see 4MV win, because Max and I have been covering them all year long. We talked about at PMWC, this team is the team to beat. And of course, because Max predicted them, they ended up not having a great time here. But you guys at home should be having a great time, because we also do have the official PMGC skins released for you. The Midnight Raven and Enigma set. You can use the code 24 PMGC to get 50 UC off with 10 draws in the lucky spin. And hopefully you do that maybe in between the breaks. But hopefully you don't want to do it during the matches, because the non-stop action is going to continue to come here.
I've done mine already, so yeah, you can.
I've been doing mine.
You've been doing yours?
Yeah.
You get
I need better luck.
Max, is there a world where we can get you to cosplay it as the Enigma set?
You know what?
Right or left?
Yes, I won't be able to tailor it myself, but I'll do it.
Okay, well, I know you do have someone who could potentially help you out with that. Any prosthetics you might need on top of that. But you guys at home, what about some other teams we should be talking about here? Obviously, the race is very heavily towards the top.
I have DRX.
Yeah, they've been quiet.
I mean, they've done nothing today, realistically. I'm sorry to say, but like,
it's true.
I was really hyped up for DRX, especially how they played yesterday. We had so many good rotates, some really strong finishes, and I highlighted Hyunbin that it would be a great story, but as of right now, it's just a nosedive for them, because at the top, you got NIGMA Galaxy, you got REGNUM CARYA. They're not sharing any points, and we can see every good spot, I feel like, upon phase 2, phase 3. Every good position's taken. That means late rotates, which DRX sometimes do, are just not going to work as they once used to in the league stage or at the start of this grand finals.
For me, it's going to be Influence Rage. I'm kind of looking at this team with how they're going to finish along the lines of what I was saying in regards to INSILIO, how Influence Rage is going to finish this last Erangel going into Miramar. We know that some of the top dogs, Dplus, I mean, the consistency that we have seen out of Dplus, especially in Miramars, it's outstanding. I don't think they're going to end up slowing down. I think they're actually going to end up shining, and this is why I have them being really close to be able to challenge for that championship. And it comes down to some of the other teams. What are they going to be able to do? If NIGMA Galaxy continues on this trajectory that they're on right now, we've been saying it, the other teams have to make sure they respond. If not, that point gap is just going to get bigger and bigger.
Well, Max, I can see you do have TJB and VOIN Donkey on your teams to focus. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, VOIN Donkey in particular, I think they're still taking some really good fights, especially their rotates around 4MV on that Sanhok game. I was really impressed with that. The main issue that we're seeing right now, and there's been an issue actually throughout all of today so far, is that they're taking really solid fights, but they're losing players. And when you lose one player, you lose two players, unfortunately, you'll transition in next fights. It even happened in Water City that time around.
Watertown.
It's the same thing.
Atlantis?
Okay, sure. You know what? That area, you guys know what I'm talking about. They lose players, and the transition from that spot is just never going to work out. So the fights, again, I think they make sense, but you got to keep your full team alive if you want to have a chance to go for the win at the end.
And I feel like for some of these teams, like especially like VOIN Donkey, right? We've talked to Defi. He has told us what the expectations were. And now, with 3 matches left, currently where you sit in the leaderboard, I feel like for them and also for a lot of the other teams, they have to set the expectation, okay, you know what? I feel like going for that championship might be a little bit too far. Where do we actually want to end up being at the end of the day? I had this conversation earlier at the beginning of the day with Alpha 7. They were saying that championship is just too far away. We're trying to be at least within the top 3. For VOIN Donkey, I feel like right now their goal should be minimum top 5.
Yeah, it feels so hard because right now I'm looking at all of these teams, and so many teams are doing really amazing play. Again, that's why I had TJB also as one of the picks, and VOIN. They're doing great plays, but unfortunately, at the point of the tournament, you have 3 matches left. Well, guess what? Good plays are not going to cut it if you want to race for that first place, which is hard to say, but it is unfortunately the realistic truth of this situation they found themselves in.
The fact is, you've been playing all year long, all your career long, to get here to PMGC. Some of the players obviously returning for multiple times, some returning after taking themselves the trophy. For instance, players like Silas, very underwhelming performance back last year in Turkey, as S2G did not have a great performance, and you knew he still had that drive inside of him to keep going. Rebuilds with the new team with REGNUM CARYA, and you can just tell that trophy's around the corner for him. But it's still tough to be in these positions to know, like, that one mistake, that one bad call could ruin your chance to pick up the trophy. And honestly, if you're a coach, I don't even know what the hell you would say to your team other than just, you know, take it game by game, take it play by play, and and try to keep calm.
Or if you're Peko, just do magic tricks. You know? Like,
He just does magic tricks for the team. He's actually not the coach for the team, he's actually the magician for the team. He just does magic
That's
tricks all the time.
the new meta. You have DBS, then is going to be the hovercraft, and now you need a magician on your team if you want to do
He's
well.
the entertainer. Keep it up, Pickle. It's working out. You guys are currently in first place, even though it might be just 2 points. I feel like for this team, we have been able to see a bit more of aggression out of them in regards to the past. I think I would always look at them and be like, okay, you guys can definitely be consistent in regards to the placement points. At some point, if you do want to be able to become the champion, we need to see those elimination numbers. And so far today, we were talking about it earlier, I feel like finally we're starting to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Peko was talking about when I chatted with him before the Grand Finals, right after the league stage. He said, this team is just well more suited for the IGLing style of Rauf to just make things feasible in the first place. So yeah, everything is just gelling perfectly together, and the stars align for maybe them to pick up this trophy.
It's so weird to hear that too, because we obviously saw the formation team with Koops on the roster, and if we're talking about just having fragging power, I mean, Koops is definitely a player that's always going to be in that conversation, but it has to be something besides fragging power that's allowing this team to have a performance like this. We check in with our top 4 players, and right now, it looks like Loxy might be setting himself up to be the finals MVP.
Okay, I mean, Loxy's up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought everyone wanted to jump in.
I mean, he was the quiet one on the team that we've been talking about in league stage. Right?
Exactly, I remember Blank mentioned a few times, right, like, oh, we're not seeing enough from Wild and Loxy, and we're like, we're waiting for them to rise up, man. They're doing it at the right time here, because Kim is, of course, is not here to kind of step in that role he was having in the league stage. I'm loving what we're seeing from Wild and Loxy so far, and being MVP, that would be a great, well, the best achievement you could do, technically, this year.
Before we ended up going there to that top players, you were talking about the previous NIGMA Galaxy, right? And now how Peko thinks this NIGMA Galaxy is just so much better suited for the way that Rauf is able to IGL. And I feel like it has to do because they just don't have to rely on just one player. In the past, yeah, you had Lork, you had Freak in your squad, but the main thing for that squad was always going to be Koops. Okay, what is Koops going to be able to do? Every single time, especially from what I remember being able to break down some of their playing style, whenever Koops ended up getting eliminated, you'd be like, okay, it's pretty much like a toss-up for that team. What are they, even though we know the other players can get some eliminations, it's not going to be something outrageous. Now, for this team, though, it's not just one player. It's not just one player that you're going to be depending on in regards to eliminations. It's everybody, and on top of that, Rauf, the IGL, is being able to get Illims as well.
It really reminds me actually of Dplus KIA, right? Every single player on the team is just doing so damn well when it comes to fragging potential and just working in perfect harmony in these pushes, in the IGL. Cool, like, Rauf, whatever you say, we'll do it, but we'll do it together. And that is really what makes champions here. You're never going to see a team win a grand tournament or like PMGC, PMWC, or PMGO by just doing solo plays, everyone doing their own thing. Like, you have to play so damn well together, so closely together, and that's what we have been seeing from NIGMA Galaxy in the second half of 2024.
Well, we are just moments away here from getting into our final Erangel of the day. We're running out of matches. We're running out of time here for any of these teams to make that mad dash in the final moments to lift that trophy and take home that lion's share of $3 million. But let's head into this final Erangel. Let's hear some noise from the audience when we bring it back to our commentators of John Allen and Blake.
For the final time of 2024, we will see the grassy pastures of Erangel pass beneath the plain as we head from the southwest corner up towards Stalba. Match 16 of 18, and it seems like just 2 days ago that we started these finals. Blank, that's because it was, and we are drawing it ever closer to its inexorable end.
Two horses galloping towards the front at the moment with NIGMA Galaxy and RCB. 2 points in between these two squads. Looking for a strong finish here. More points on board. NIGMA Galaxy has great control over towards Erangel at the moment. Now breathing easy right now. Getting a western plane here. Teams will be rotating out in a slightly odd fashion. It's not been a lot. We have sent the plane from that western side. A lot of times we've been going from Novorobnoye or the south side of Sosnovka. So definitely a little bit of a change up here on our final Erangel of the day.
A mainland skew on this plane path up to the northwest edge. The Falcons down very, very early. They're playing that west side of the map right now. Unlikely that they're going to break all the way down to that military base. I'm not expecting it. 4MV may be looking to go for that from the drop down towards the south side. And I'm still keeping an eye out for hot drops. We've seen so many teams be punished. A southeast shift, it doesn't put the military base in the circle, but it does cut out with a lot of water over towards the Milta Peninsula.
Oh, it's third wheel in the conversation, that's for sure, down towards that south side. Novorobnoye being in. causes some problems as well, because by the time you get into that stage 2, likely there'll still be some of that water left inwards, making it a bit more claustrophobic for these teams, squeezing them into a smaller space, which you never really want to see. We might see some teams go down fairly early in this match. RCB not quite at the front here, but NIGMA Galaxy with everywhere to go from Pachinki. Great springboard for them into the future of this match.
Teams with their last chance to put points up on Erangel now. And it is the top 2 on these tables that have distinguished themselves. Plenty of teams on a fall from grace. They have slipped by the wayside here with only 3 matches left to play. It could all change, but it's starting to look less and less likely. For 4MV, I mean, the way that they have been able to achieve in this final is exemplary when it comes to having that confidence knocked back over in the survival stage. They have really pulled something together here and have had an impact. They've broken that 100-point barrier, but they are now still 27 points behind. And to make that gap up when NIGMA Galaxy look to be so on form, I don't know if they can do it.
I mean, no matter what anyone says, for 4MV, like you say, it has been a great run for them. 5th place, 100 points. It is close, though. And the boys on the desk were talking about it. This is probably our most competitive, not even probably, this is definitely our most competitive PMGC that we've had so far after the adjustments to the formats this year, making it ever so tough to make it to the top. But you can tell that just with the way that the points drop down on the tables. 106 in 3rd place. 8th place is 94.
There's a real big drop down, and it's definitely, you're right, the most competitive part of PUBG Mobile history we've seen. And this time around, it seems like those openings just being denied to teams that really capitalized on them before in previous years, in previous situations. They are being denied those openings. In this set of 16 teams, there is little to no weaknesses, right? There is just so few opportunities to sail on through, to find a strong approach, and the effectiveness of just raw power is so much reduced. You have to rely more on your intelligence, more on your strategy, and that's where I think we're seeing teams like INSILIO start to shine, right? They are bringing these new strategies fast, effectively into the mix.
It's got to be done a lot of times as well. I think for NIGMA Galaxy, this would have been a good time to send out, but for RCB, it's a crisp rotation, and they land right in the dip. Good position for them to play going forward. Vicious towards their northeast side. And for RCB, it is a little bit dangerous in terms of the amount of teams that are going to be around you, but they have center right now, which is great to see. The NIGMA Galaxy, they will be making their way through. 2 South Korean Guardians will block their path, though, on the north side.
A difficult approach on that one, and they may opt to go south instead. We'll have to wait and see how they want to play this one out. Over towards farm, you've got Team Spirit to try and push through, and the Falcons are approaching from behind on the west side. Meanwhile, on the route out from Severny, that sort of area around shooting range, TJB are looking to make their way into the north side of this circle. Near Yasnaya Poliana, they've got some free and open crossings. No one really competing for that ground at all, so they do have a nice little approach there, but not so lucky for Alpha 7 and Guild, both coming a cropper upon one another as EXO beams a shot over towards Revo. Really nice stuff from EXO, and Alpha 7 losing 1, maybe 2, a third in the mix. We'll have to wait and see, because CARYA is the last to stand for them. EXO and Jakey up for the fight. The res coming through, 4 seconds left. They will find 2, but it'll be low HP. EXO, Jakey looking for the timing on the fight. Break out the back. CARYA holding down the left side, waiting for this heal to come through and an immediate re-knock. A step out wide. EXO's rebuffed. Jakey with a challenge, but CARYA keeps Alpha 7 in. All 4 of them stay alive, Blank, and teams a shot over towards Revo. Really nice stuff from EXO, and out for 7, losing 1, maybe 2. Killed, both coming a cropper. On one another as EXO beams a shot over towards Revo. Really nice stuff from EXO, and Alpha 7 loses. Okay, up north. Over towards the Yaz fields, that mansion area, those fields, that split. A lot of open ground, the dips are in play, Blank. The south edge of Yasnaya field, a soft barrier for teams looking to push up north. 4MV and INSILIO clashing, 1-for-1 on the trade right now. Both of them drawing blood as they whip past one another. And it seems like they're looking to disengage here, or certainly INSILIO may do. Westron, though, perhaps stuck a little bit too deep into this. May struggle to get away from it. Needs a little bit of assistance. They'll draw some attention, and out they go.
Losing your frontliner like Redlick is real tough. And it's time to just leave away from that scenario. Dplus finding another player from the Falcons, and at this point, they are gliding very low to the ground, are the Falcons. It has not been the performance they have been looking for. The Vicious, though, taking down more from INSILIO. Fache hits the deck. Falcons trying to get a little bit of revenge on the teams that surround them. Shots over towards NIGMA Galaxy as they try pass on by.
It would be disastrous to start losing players, to start bleeding out for NIGMA Galaxy at this stage, such a crucial juncture, especially given the scorelines. 127 points right now for NIGMA Galaxy. They're only 2 points ahead of RCB, and with RCB's position on the circle right now, Blank, it's very likely they can get up towards 5, 6, 7 points just by default out of this game. More certainly potentially as well, but NIGMA Galaxy want to keep that buffer on their side, so losing players early would be disastrous.
It is a tough circle. Luckily we moved away from Sosnovka and that water. We do move back up towards the north. RCB gracefully head their way over towards that northern side, just underneath the road, but plenty of teams surround them at this point. All eyes on them. NIGMA Galaxy instead playing in the shadows over towards that western side, waiting to strike.
Spray down, INSILIO backed off the corner. 2 players left standing. On the bunker position, this is defensible, but the roll-up could come at any moment from any team, from any direction. It's always going to be rough. I think ThunderTalk the most likely to roll up to the 4MV bunker, potentially try and head up towards that INSILIO bunker if that's where they indeed decide to go. And the open ground starting to swallow teams whole around this mansion area. And it is Influence Rage. It's RCB right in the middle of it all.
10 seconds now before we hit stage 3. We are almost halfway through this match. Last time these teams will see Erangel for a little while. We get an eastern shift. The ThunderTalks are happy about this one. TJB similarly looping down off that north side. That's a good spot to be in, Jump.
Looking at that split from ThunderTalk, and they are doing it right now. They're regrouping. They held too much ground for this circle now. They have moved back down to that prison west side hill. They'll be a lot stronger as a unit in this situation.
Influence Rage passing RCB here. Teams allowing it to happen, but TJB might have other things to say about it. NIGMA Galaxy on a dangerous rotate now. They get past 4MV. They don't take shots, but they're heading over towards the ThunderTalks, who are playing on the western side of prison. It is uphill, so NIGMA Galaxy might not take a casualty just yet.
What a rotate, slipping straight through the cracks between the holes from Team Spirit, from 4MV, with Na'Vi behind them on pursuit, and the Vicious as well on the south side. So many teams had crossfire there, so to be able to thread the needle on that one is a great result for Ralph, for NIGMA Galaxy to make that call.
Yeah, it was a wild rotate, to be honest with you. I mean, it's completely through open ground, and there is that safety of heading straight up into the tree line. So once you get yourself into there, you are somewhat covered off. They will head down towards that southeast side, towards Lumberyard, getting themselves a little bit more of that high ground advantage so they can scout out around them, maybe listen out for vehicles. Alpha 7 making their way in on that northeastern edge. But a lot of teams here, John, still 15. We have lost a fair few players in the mix of this one, but despite that, everyone's being very cautious, hoping to maintain as many points as possible on our most reliable map here.
We talk a lot about these dips in this area, Blank, and RCB have one on lockdown on northwest side. Unfortunately, the circle does put them right towards the edge on it, which means that they are going to have to try and push their way on through. And going step by step down to the south edge of those dips is really quite difficult, especially if you have teams surrounding you, which is currently the case. TJB a little bit closer to the middle of that open area, out to their east side, could control a lot of it, but I think it's all still on this NIGMA Galaxy rotate up towards the southeast side. To be able to take control of this area could be what wins them not only this match, but potentially even the tournament.
Yeah, it's hard, and I think for RCB, they understand that there is a lot of area around here that is defensible, that they can use potentially going forward. But it does rely on them taking down VOIN Donkey ID, Falcons, the stragglers from that team, Dplus KIA on their north side, and Influence Rage has set up the barricade down towards their southeast. It's a hard spot to be in, but if anyone can hold on, it will be RCB, but with a shift like that, NIGMA Galaxy's day just got a whole lot better.
Goodness me, what a gift to the southeast side. Everybody on the northwest in danger now, needs to move fast. Falcons trying to get away from Dplus KIA, but Osal is on the hunt. Fortunately, runs out of ammo. Icy steps into the backseat of the buggy, and that is a bit of a misstep there for him. Will fall down, goes up in smoke. Now it's just top there in location for the Falcons on the northwest side.
RCB's in. They've managed to get their way through. Influence Rage had nothing to say about it. And somehow RCB is barreling it towards the center of the circle here in Shelter. No one's stopping them. Everyone's way too focused on everything around them. NIGMA Galaxy and RCB co-lecturer masterclass in a rotate.
These are the moneymaker movements right now for the two teams at the top of the tables as NIGMA Galaxy look to sweep through. But Na'Vi are now here behind them to try and make their day a little bit more difficult, make them work for their paycheck. TJB trying to get on through as well, slam straight into that RCB position. VOIN Donkey are here to play as well. RCB have taken a knock. TJB is starting to tumble down as well, but Zeta clocks one up to Narvalo, sends him tumbling, needing to pick up that res. NIGMA Galaxy want this top of the hill, but Na'Vi still putting pressure on. Not to worry, Redox is here.
Redox forced off though, a hovercraft in the way. 4MV taken down, TJB off in the distance, Redox down as that front line. NIGMA Galaxy suffering to the hands of Na'Vi. They start to push up, claiming ground, looking to chop down the tree that is NIGMA Galaxy, firmly planted their route over towards Lumberyard.
A Na'Vi approach on the southeast side, and two players for NIGMA Galaxy now split. SnowX and Narvalo, very different locations right now. SnowX really looking to regroup here. You can see him sending back over towards his teammate on the east side. will play on the hills to the south of Prison, to the north of Lumberyard. And on the east edge, Alpha 7 are going to look to flow down towards that south side with Revo already that outpost.
Yeah, for Alpha 7, this is a good cut-in for them. RCB did weather the storm, though. 4 plays of Enigma Galaxy. The same cannot be said. Looking like a steady oak on that game up until that moment. It really was a case that the bark on that tree was louder than their bite. Snowick's now on the southwest side, trying to stay alive as long as possible. But RCB look for more names inside the lobby.
That's what they need to find that step up. They're only 2 points behind Blank, and they've closed that gap by 1. It could change around here. In the meantime, Dplus KIA and the Vicious going toe-to-toe, and Nolbu's down. Chips and Fabian stand, but 3 players are in their way for the Vicious. They are on the surround. Dplus KIA, the circle not going to force them out of this building just yet, but Nolbu re-knocked almost immediately. That could have been a flush, but the res came through on time. And the Vicious with Brenozen on the high ground. Gonna try and go in as 2, but Chips is ready for it. He spots the vault in and immediately sets him reeling down. Has been knocked. The player around the corner, Reyes, with the wall side, doesn't have the backup yet from Brenozen.
Chips is in. Looks to finish off these players. This looks like a good nade out the window. Burst perfectly. Another down, and Dplus after 3 eliminations, though Nolbu knocked on the top side. We'll go for the res now.
The south
circle.
On the circle, it is that south side shift, and Na'Vi have the hilltop that NIGMA Galaxy should have been in possession of. You can see how much influence they have over the southeast edge, and if NIGMA Galaxy had been able to win out that fight, it could have all been different here, but now RCB are champing at the bit to take that first place from them.
Alpha 7 up against Influence Rage. 2 Brazilian teams in the heat of battle here. 4MV, Doc takes down 1 from Team Spirit as they attempt to get in on that northwest side, but it's not meant to be. The wall is laid down, Na'Vi rolling through in the hovercraft. CARYA hits the deck, and McGrellin now looks for the off angle. 1 down for Na'Vi, potentially able to piece this back together. Do CARYA a favor from earlier in this match.
He was able to hold them all together. 4 players stayed alive because of him, and now the other 3 need to keep him in the fold. Lemon with suppression out, and Na'Vi have pulled the hovercraft into their toolkit. See if they can deliver on it like INSILIO do. The nade on the bounce from Team Spirit takes down 4MV on the northwest side. In the meantime, they lose Nomi, but 3 players will play on.
Good arc on that nade coming through from Team Spirit. Takes down Baron. Be lording over any land on that side of the map now. In comes Alpha 7 though, rolling through in the vehicle, has to send away, but 10 eliminations on the game for Alpha 7. Trying to break that 13th place curse already out, leaving Falcons in their dust.
We've seen a lot of high elimination early games from individual teams right now, Blank. We haven't really seen that many times where that changes from these early games, from these mid games into a late game. And I think Alpha 7, they've got momentum here. This is a brilliant result. From the north side of Prison, from the top of the Prison Hills on the south edge of it, there's a lot of